Howdy do, world. I'm Rusty, and this is my top 5 countdown of the games that gave me the biggest shocks over the years. Now, by shocks, I mean they either flat out unnerved me, or I just didn't see them coming, like, at all. And there are a few rules to my vids, which are similar to rules from other videos, but mine takes it to another level. For one, like others, it's one game, one entry per game. But mine takes it to another level. One entry per series. As in, there are no two clips from two different Final Fantasy games. Just no. That would become repetitive. Also, it's like with other series like this. It's only from games I've played personally. And with that, let's. You guys are tired of hearing me just talk about this. Let's just get on with it. Bear with me for this next one, as I do not currently possess any gameplay whatsoever for it. I do, however, encourage you to go to YouTube and watch the video representing this next particular one, unless you own this particular game, and then you understand my frustration. Well, let's go ahead and get everything all started, and magical teleportation did, and whatnot. As you can see from my shirt, I'm a very devout Magic the Gathering player. So, when they came out with Magic Duel of the Planeswalkers 2013, like 2012 before it, I jumped on the bandwagon and bought the thing. And then I played the thing. And then I reached the last boss. A big evil dragon guy by the name of Nicol Bolas. But here's where the shock factor was not that it's Nicol Bolas. The same Nicol Bolas that was printed clear back in Legends, which was what, 95, 96-ish? I don't remember. I wasn't playing back then. I only started in 2001, folks. Bear with me. But when he got upped his status to a Planeswalker in Shards of Alara block, then yes, things went south. And it goes even further south in this iteration. Because you see, those who are familiar with Magic the Gathering are familiar with a set of cards called the Power 9. Oh, for a second I looked a little funny there in the camera. But the Power 9 are the 9 most overpowered, aggressively costed, and ridiculously expensive cards in Magic's storied history. Going on 20 years now. But, in Nicol Bolas's deck, he runs a set of cards called the Mox, which are among the Power 9. 5 of the Power 9 are these Mox cards. The Mox cards are zero-cost artifacts, meaning you can just drop them into play and just say, "Up yours!" And they all produce mana, which allows you to play other cards. And you do not give an Elder Dragon of that level of power the Moxen. What were you thinking, Wizards? What were you thinking, Stainless? Why? Really, guys? Just no. And I would have been okay with them giving Nicol Bolas the Mox if his deck was playable. But it's not. And what's worse is in the Revenge campaign, Nicol Bolas gets that many copies of the Mox in his deck. No, just no. Why? And it took me hours upon hours just to beat his regular mode where he's only running that many. I could go on and rant for ages against this stupid, ridiculous abomination that should have never happened and shocked the living daylights out of me when I saw him play a Mox. Next clip, please. Ah, The Elder Scrolls. Such an amazing game series. But in particular, our choice today just so happens to be that entry. Yeah, Oblivion had its absolute amazing point. It's in the game. But what actually shocked me most was nothing from the game itself. It's the choice of voice actors in one particular case, which I would have never found out if it wasn't for a 4 a.m. trip to the IMDb. And in particular, the choice for it just so happened to be Martin Septim. It's a guy that some of you might be familiar with by the name of Sean Bean. Wait, you're telling me that the guy who does this
For England, James?
and the guy that does this
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
is also the guy that does this? Yes. Yes, I am. And that shocked me because I'm a huge fan of Sean Bean, but I would have never guessed. Oh, and just saying, keeping in with typical Sean Bean tradition, Martin Septim dies. He dies in a blaze of glory, summoning Akatosh and kicking Mehrunes Dagon's ass back to oblivion. Next segment, please. I would once again like to apologize for not having any footage to show of the game in question. However, again, I encourage you to go to YouTube and look for yourself. Or if you can, as hard to find as GameCube games are anymore, go find it for yourself if you're into the whole Yu-Gi-Oh thing. And yes, that brings me to a Yu-Gi-Oh game. A Yu-Gi-Oh game that shocked the living daylights out of me once I got to a specific part. In Yu-Gi-Oh! The Falsebound Kingdom, you don't play the actual card game. Falsebound Kingdom is actually a real-time strategy game, putting your characters with teams of 3 monsters against your opponents. And at the end of this game, once you've beaten the game once, and you go back to repeat or play through a different storyline, we'll just say something that scared the living daylights out of me the first time I saw it happened. And that is that once you've beaten the Egyptian god at the end of that particular storyline, it comes back in all its level 99 glory. And I thought facing it at level 1 was bad. And then level 9. Are you kidding me? Really, guys? Really? Plus, you know, Dark Knight becoming Nightmare, bloody freaking blood, jump scare on the level of PewDiePie. Yeah, it was pretty nuts. Oh, and did I mention that the first time I did this, I didn't realize that you can just attack with 2 of your creatures and then run with the third? So, yeah, I pretty well got schooled for a while. Oh, and for those who want to play this game, don't get trolled by Karibo in this area. Just don't do it. It's a trap. As some of you may know, with my previous account under Rustus Invade, I'm a pretty devout player of Fire Emblem. I created a series of videos called Fire Emblem Ending Parody. I did one for just Fire Emblem as it was known here in the States, and I did one for Sacred Stones also. Still haven't gotten around to the rest, but that's another story. For this particular countdown, the entry comes not from any of them that have been released here in the States. It actually comes from the second game in the series, Fire Emblem Guided. In Fire Emblem Guide, you play as a pair of teams, actually. First, you have Alm. Alm is raised by his grandfather and ends up taking over the resistance forces. Bloody freaking blah. You guys don't want to know this crap. You guys want to know what the shock factor is. Anyway, in this particular game, as you get close to the end game, while moving Alm's party, well, this happens. Oh! Oh my god! Oh my god, my team's trapped! Mother of... Yeah, that's right. The game holds one of your two parties ransom until you complete the other half of that particular chapter. Yes, that's right. Oh, and trust me, it gets a lot worse. Because while you're trapped in there, you're fighting dragon zombies. Yes, one of the... If you've played the translation of this game, you understand my frustration completely because they're a pain in my rump. And probably yours too. Unless you've got a party full of healers and things that know angel magic and blah de freaking blah. And then it's a piece of cake. But, yeah, when I first went through, I didn't have such privileges. I didn't know what I was doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get scared out your wits. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that brings us to our number one spot on the countdown. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I've long been a Final Fantasy fan ever since I discovered the series. In particular, it was this game right here that got me through a very dark time in my life. And because of its influence, I also quit smoking. Quite a feat. But anyway, uh, a lot of people are thinking, well, it's going to be
You lose! Good day, sir!
Ha! You're wrong! No! It's not 7! But you are right about it being a death scene. It's actually this death scene right here. Yeah, that's right. It's Galoof's death scene from Final Fantasy V. Final Fantasy V is one of the most ignored games of the series, and yet at the same time, it's got some of the most fantastic gameplay there was. Because, I mean, let's see, how many jobs were there to choose from? The extra dungeon at the end of Final Fantasy V Advance gave me 2 fucking years of trouble. What? I can't say... Really? Really? Permit me to remind you the 7 words you're not allowed to say in broadcast.
We're shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits!
Oh. Okay. But, anyway... Anyway, just continue rolling with the footage. This was just so amazing for me back when I was first discovering the series. Oh my word, what amazingness. And that concludes our countdown. There's not really much to be said after this. Go ahead, flame away, do whatever. This is the internet. There are no rules that stop you from doing all of that. Go right ahead.